My name is Matthew Scott Kane, and this is Scream Dreams.
It's objectively the best candy.
Is it Twizzlers?
No.
No, because he wants crunchy.
Favorite?
So
I need some crunch.
it's something like Pop Rocks.
Is it
or
the
something.
Nerds gummy clusters?
That's exactly what it is, dude.
Oh, okay.
Have you had these Nerds clusters?
They are
Yeah.
the best.
No, I
They
do.
are the best candy?
I do, 'cause
My
that's
kids
exactly
love
where my
those
brain
too.
went.
They're
It
incredible.
is the most.
Hello, friends.
I'm James A. Janisse.
I'm Catherine Corcoran.
And I'm Barbara Crampton.
Welcome.
Welcome to another episode of Scream Dreams.
Scream Dreams.
Our guest today is a writer and showrunner.
His new show, Hysteria, is on Peacock and has an appearance by none other than
Me, Barbara Crampton.
Most importantly, he's from the best state in the union, Michigan.
That's really good.
He's a personal friend of mine and a fellow graduate from University of Michigan. And in fact, when I first moved out to LA, he was in a sketch comedy group with me and my wife, Chelsea, that began our careers on YouTube. Welcome to the Killcat. Matt has always been an amazing and hilarious writer, and he's always honed his work, and that perseverance paid off when he sold an original show to NBC, Hysteria, which premieres on Peacock on October 18th. It's incredible for me to see such a close friend become a showrunner, and I couldn't be more proud of him.
Please welcome our very special guest,
our very special guest,
My friend, Matthew Scott Kane.
Matthew Scott Kane.
Matthew Scott Kane.
We have our biggest fan on the show right now as a guest, right? You're like our biggest fan. You've been with us from the beginning.
Let this be a lesson to everyone watching the show. If you sign up for their Patreon, you will be a guest on the show.
Oh my God.
All
we
you
need
gotta
more
do is
Patreon.
sign up for the Patreon,
Sign
sell
up.
a show to
Sell a
NBC.
show to
Right.
NBC, go through a really long process to get it made, come out on the other end, and you might be here.
Oh my
Might
God.
be on Scream Dreams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
cool.
that's why I
Pinnacle.
did it. honestly.
Yeah.
You guys hadn't even started yet when the ball started rolling.
That was
But
the
I
goal.
knew James, and I just knew he was going to be up to something.
Yeah, so
Well, you
talk
should
about
talk.
how you guys know each other.
We didn't meet in college, right?
We did meet in college,
Oh,
very
shit.
very brief, but it was the final year,
Okay.
maybe the junior year. We met at a internship. It was this thing that Victor Fanucchi was doing.
Was it Ann Arbor Film Festival or no? What?
No, it was he was making a commercial for a department.
And it was filmed at the end of summer, right? Like
Yep.
right before the session started. So yeah, it was right before
And-
my senior year. Were you also 11?
I was 12.
You were
I
12,
was
so you
a
were
year
with Chelsea's
below
class.
you. Yeah. But I remember distinctly we're in North Quad.
Yep.
The meeting had just disbanded
Uh-huh.
for, the production meeting for this thing. And you and I were tasked with resetting the room. And we're pushing these tables across the room. And then I hear you go, "Poosh, poosh."
Jurassic Park.
And I looked up and said, "Jurassic Park?" And your eyes lit up so big. And you were like, "You got it."
Oh, wow.
And it was like, that was all it took for, I
Yeah.
think, both of us to be like, "Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
I like this guy."
Chelsea was part of that project too.
She
yeah,
was.
I remember that.
She was.
It was right when
Yeah.
I got back from my internship out here,
Yep.
which I did in the summer before my senior year. And
Yeah.
so that was our first meeting.
That was the first one. Yeah, and then we kept in touch out in Los Angeles. We did Comediocracy with each other for a little bit.
Yeah,
and then it
that's
just-
the thing. Matt was part of my sketch comedy group on YouTube, our first group
That was
on
your
YouTube.
first thing you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's literally a sketch. I don't think it's online anymore, but it's like we're in it together.
Yeah.
Me, him, Chelsea, and our
Yeah.
other friend Dave.
Yeah.
It's like a comedy sketch.
It's like the whole idea of the sketch is we forgot all the sketches.
yeah.
And we're just like rapid fire trying to come up with new ones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
I remember-
I'm doing like a Tom Haverchuck impression through the entire thing. I am not an actor.
It was the only thing
Yeah.
you acted in
But-
with
but-
The
us.
only thing.
Did
Yeah.
you come out here because you wanted to be a writer? Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
is that
Oh,
yeah.
what you went to school for and everything?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Michigan. We moved around a lot. I started in Ohio, another place in Ohio, Kentucky, and then back up to Michigan.
Why
And
did you
kind of,
move so much? Just,
A lot of people think that it was like a military thing. It's actually a retail thing. My dad was a really successful store director.
Oh, you're a
of
retail
this-
brat.
I'm a retail brat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, that's funny.
He would essentially go to a new failing store, turn it around, and then they're like,
Right.
okay, go somewhere else. And we did that for the majority of my childhood.
Your dad was like Bar Rescue, but for
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
store.
I feel like of the t-shirts that we need to have, that's another one. I'm a retail brat.
Then eventually I landed in Ypsi and stayed there until I moved out to LA. But
That's
while
Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Yeah, Ypsilanti.
What is,
okay.
you were telling us what that was known for.
Ypsilanti, Michigan is known for actually 3 things. One I forgot to mention, and you might know about this. One is a very phallic water tower that
Excellent.
is referred to as the Brick Dick in town.
Oh, it looks just like it.
You would understand.
Okay, we
if
need
you
a
saw it.
picture. We need a
yeah.
graphic for that.
The other is Iggy Pop. He
Excellent.
was
From
from
there?
Ypsilanti,
Okay.
not Ann Arbor. And the third is a much more recent thing, but I just think it's very funny. Have you heard, James, of the Ypsi Pooper?
Pooper?
Pooper.
No.
Pooper.
Yes.
What's the Ypsi
You guys
Pooper?
can look this up online. I'm not making it up.
Okay.
There was some person going through all of the children's parks in Ypsilanti and pooping on their slides.
No.
That's so sad and mean.
And then they took out
That's so funny.
they took out billboards that would say like #stop the pooper. And they were
There was a
all-
campaign.
They were
That's
all
also a
over
t-shirt
Ipsy.
that I need.
And they did stop the pooper.
They
so we
found
got
him?
him.
They found
We
the
got
pooper?
him. Yeah.
Plugged him up.
Yeah.
No, see, I love
Yeah.
this though, because this is my plan if I ever got kidnapped. And I've shared this with multiple people.
Okay.
If I ever get kidnapped, my plan is to be in like the backseat of the car. You know, they have you like all tied up or whatever. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have so much diarrhea. You guys, I'm going to have the worst diarrhea, because then they'd go, we've got to pull over. Like, you're like, it's happening. You know, you
Yeah.
like do the whole thing. It's happening. It's happening. Nobody is going to go just have diarrhea all over the
Right.
back of my car. They're going to go, get out of my car.
That's a
Yeah.
good plan.
And then I'm just going to run. that's my
Gonna
plan.
run away.
If anyone's tried this, please let me
Now
know.
they know.
Yeah.
Though.
But I would like to know if it's worked. Now they know the kidnapping.
Now they know. Yeah. They're
But
going to
I-
formulate.
Okay, but all this
Like,
talk,
no, you're a liar.
all this talk about what comes out of us. Let's talk about something that's coming into us very soon and why you're here, Matt. Matt has a new
Into
show
our
that's
homes, not into
debuting on
us.
Peacock October 18th. Is
Yes,
that correct?
that is correct.
And it's called Hysteria.
Yes.
An exclamation mark.
Yes. And
'Cause
why
it's
is
very-
it called Hysteria?
Well, it has the exclamation mark because it's very exciting.
Yes, of course.
It's called Hysteria because it's such an all-encompassing
hysteria.
word for what's going on in the world of the show. It is it's a show about what fear does to a community. It's a show about 80s heavy metal, which Hysteria is very famously the name of a Def Leppard song, so that fits right in there. And it's called Hysteria because that's generally the tone of the show. There's just so much crazy things happening, hysterics going on that felt very appropriate.
And what was the genesis of this project? Like, how did you come up with the idea for it?
Yeah, so I can give 2 very different answers on that. They're not at odds with each other, but the bluntest idea or the bluntest version of this is that I needed a rep.
Oh,
I needed an agent
right.
and a manager. I had no idea that this was going to be happening.
So you needed a writing sample.
I needed a writing sample stat. Like I had moved out to LA when I was 22.
In 2012.
2012. So yeah, I was 22. I worked as a PA for Judge Joe Brown. I worked as, PAs and writer's assistants and all those sort of things. And it's like, the entry level jobs out here are kind of like chutes and ladders. Like you can find the right one that really sends you to the top, and then you can sidestep and you're back at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I kept spending 60-hour work weeks on these PA jobs and all of that kind of stuff. And I was creatively feeling really distant from where I want it to be. I've told you this story before, but there was a night, I want to say it was in 2017, when I was really feeling stopped up and like I didn't have the urge to go write anymore. And I was really just kind of backed up in that way. And I went to the Egyptian Theater where I believe it was Cinematic Void was putting on a double feature of Re-Animator and From Beyond. And as soon as I finished Re-Animator, all of that stopped up changed. I immediately was like, that is the tightest horror film I've ever seen.
Is that the first time you watched it?
No.
But
This guy's a true blue fan.
This guy
Okay, but something clicked in
that moment where I was
Yeah.
searching for something and trying to find, like, what do I want to sound like as a writer? What do I want to do as a writer? And I saw it, and I just, like, something unlocked in me, and I understood what I wanted to do next, which was going to be Hysteria.
And that's why your company is called
Cat Dead Details Later. Inc.
Right.
Yeah.
Cat Dead Details Later is the little note that I think, who puts it up there?
No, he
It's
says, like, what
Herbert.
I should have left a note. Cat dead, details later.
Oh,
The way he
that's
says
right.
it is so
That's right.
good.
Thank you for reminding me of what's
Yeah.
in my own movie. Because I've forgotten.
I probably watched it more recently than you.
Yeah.
And I should also add just another tangent of that story. That night before the show, I went to the Pig and Whistle
Yeah.
by myself. Just went down there to grab a drink before the movie. And I look over, and there's this table of, I believe it was you and Ryan Turek and a couple of other, really cool horror people.
Yeah, I remember you telling me the story.
And I was looking over there, and I was just like, man, that is the cool crowd. That is such a cool crowd. And then skip to January in Covington, Georgia. And now I'm sitting at a bar having a drink with you and Jeffrey and everyone else. And I was suddenly in the cool crowd. It was just such a fulfilling moment for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't think we were going to reveal this soon in the episode, but you're saying that because I was with you in Covington.
Yeah.
Because I'm in an episode in the show
Yes.
with Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
An exclusive.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is an exclusive. Well, we'll see if
We'll
it's
see
an
it.
exclusive when
When
this
it comes
show
out.
airs. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys were so gracious to come down and shoot. It's
So gracious. Oh my God. What a nice opportunity for us
Yeah.
to be together and, come full circle that you thought of us. Like there's something happened to you at that moment and you're like, I'm going to write something. And I don't know, something spurred you on from watching Re-Animator. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I think that's like something that's like really universal about the genre community and that we talk about a lot on the show is that you always think you're on the outside, and
Right.
but we're really a community of outsiders.
Right.
So we kind of just build each other up and you'll be looking at me like, oh, that's the cool kids. I can't go over there.
Yeah.
But then moments later you'll be making something together because
But
we know
what's
what it is to be othered, which is a theme
Yes.
of Hysteria, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's true. Yeah. And it's a reminder to everybody who listens and watches us that you have to make your own content. And that's what you did. You saw something that gave you some spur on or some energy and you were like, I'm going to write something and I need a writing sample and I've got to get out of where I am. We're all filled with inertia sometimes because we think that it's like over there. How can I get to the cool crowd? How can I go over there? Well, you have to create it yourself.
Yep.
And sometimes from nothing, from inside of yourself, just create it.
It was a show that had been in my head for 3 or 4 years before I even put pen to paper. It was something that I'd been researching like crazy. I think I first heard about the very, very, very genesis of the idea was I had this really bizarre interaction when I was in like 3rd grade where the night before my dad took me to a Kiss show and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And on my way out, my dad buys me a souvenir t-shirt. It's like the band, it's their name and then all the band members and Gene's got his tongue out and all that stuff. And I wear it to school the next day thinking I'm going to be the talk of the town. I'm going to be the person that really gets conversation going around here and turns these people on to Kiss. And that was silly. But I get to my first class of the day and before I can even break the plane of the classroom, my teacher stopped me and said, "You're not coming in here with that shirt on."
Wow.
And I was like,
What year was
I
this?
think so.
Like 90.
Yeah.
Like 90, 7,
my
98,
God.
something like that. So I was a 7, 8-year-old kid. There's nothing offensive on the shirt. It's just people, it's in makeup.
Yeah.
And she looks down, she comes down to my level and she goes, "Do you know what that means? Do you know what Kiss means? Do you guys know what Kiss means?"
No?
In the mythology of crazy people, what does Kiss mean?
The mythology of crazy people.
It stands for, apparently, Knights in Satan's Service.
Huh.
Okay.
That is what a lot of folks chose to believe that it meant before.
Was this in Ohio?
This was in Ohio.
What
Yeah.
part of Ohio?
This was in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. So like down by
okay.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so
Does it really mean
So, but
that, or is that just what people?
no,
like,
it doesn't. It doesn't. They
No.
Like,
definitely.
I'm not curious. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, they played into it a couple
Sure.
of times.
Yeah.
Like they made comic books that have their own blood in it, and that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like they do,
Yeah.
they're trying to make money. But I essentially told her I wasn't going to take it off, and
for
so
you.
I got sent
At that
home.
age.
Yeah.
I got sent
love
home
that.
from school, and when my dad asked me, "Why did you get sent home from school?" I said it was because I was wearing this T-shirt. He asked me, "Why would they send you home wearing this T-shirt?" And I said, "Is it true that KISS means Knights in Satan's Service?" And he kind of just like looked at me from over his newspaper, and then starts reading his newspaper again, and just went, "That's a bunch of bullshit."
Yeah.
And so like my
Good for your
very
dad.
first instance with the Satanic Panic came when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
And
Right.
immediately my dad was like,
And
That's
were you
bullshit.
like raised Catholic or religious?
like
Because
my-
as an 8-year-old, if someone told me, "Oh, the thing you're into is a Satan thing," I'd be like, "Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I'm
was-
going to hell."
I was afraid of some of that stuff,
Yeah.
but it wasn't, bless you, it wasn't because of how we were raised, I don't think. Like, I saw The Exorcist when I was 9. It's terrified me.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see, my dad's father was a pastor.
Oh.
And then my dad was very much not a pastor. He was a very different type of person. He was the type of person who would take his 7 or 8-year-old kid to go see
Yes.
Kiss.
Yeah.
And my mom, she was religious early in my life, but I think she lost a brother when I was like 4 or so, and I think had like kind of a crisis of faith moment. And I'm not sure that she ever recovered it or anything. So growing up in my house, like maybe there's a cross on the wall in one room or something like that, but it's not something we talked about.
We're going to
Yeah.
church every week or
No.
anything.
And considering how many horror movies we watched on a daily basis,
Oh, wow.
I can't imagine there was any real objection.
So the show is about the Satanic Panic from like 1965 to 1985. Is that correct? Yeah.
89.
89.
Yeah.
And that's when it takes place. Is 89?
Yep. So
Yeah.
kind of at the tail end of everything. Yeah.
And it does also like without trying to give too much away because we've all seen the first episode. It has these like moments where these kids are just really trying to like fit in.
Yeah.
And they have the moment where they wear the cool like the makeup and the shirts to school.
Yeah.
And they have the similar experience that you have, but also the opposite experience where they are the cool kids
Yeah.
for
Right.
a moment.
Right.
And it kind of explores this idea of like otherhood.
Yeah.
I like, and I think that's really interesting that you were othered from the time you were 8 in the exact same way.
Yep.
Completely.
And I think something that we really wanted to do with this show was like, I don't think I've ever said this out loud. My goal was make a 4-quadrant show about Satanism, which is tough.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get most of those quadrants. But we really did try to find the humanity in everyone. We tried to find it in the heroes and the villains, in the people who are all gray all the way. Like we wanted to make sure that everyone felt like a real identifiable person. That you
It's
could-
not just with the kids, it's
understand.
with the concerned parents too. And like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
like why they're concerned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
To me, it feels like, in society, we have these moments where people are looking for something because they want to belong. And then there's another faction of culture which wants you to be accountable to something. So I feel like the show sort of explores that in a deep way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the show in general, like the broadest pitch of what every character is going through is exploitation of fear and how that's going to ripple through a community. We have a high school band that wants nothing more than to be seen. It's not even to be loved. It's not to be popular. They just want to be seen. They don't want people to look past them when they walk down the hallway. So they're using this kind of satanic panic as a way to boost their, visibility. it feels harmless. It ultimately ends up being pretty harmful to the community and all that. There are other characters who are using it for more nefarious purposes, and it's this element of fear and what it can do to the world if used the wrong way, if weaponized, if used as manipulation, is just running through every character and every plot line in the show.
So in the beginning of when we first started talking, you said you wrote this as a writing sample.
Yes.
And did you know, like, it was going to become the first thing that you did?
How did the process go when you submitted the sample to pitching to a network and becoming
because you said this Re-Animator screening was 2017.
2017.
So is that when you started writing this, or
that's when I wrote the teaser for this, which remarkably is exactly the same as what we shot and what you saw.
This is like the cold open of the pilot?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So that was when I started writing that, and then I had a lot of trouble with the rest of it.
I got one good scene.
What do you guys think? So I kind of put it in my drawer again, and then at some point, I had to go back to work. I had to make money. I was working on in offices as a assistant production coordinator, a PA, all sorts of things. Making coffee
on movies, TV shows.
I was on Annabelle Creation.
Oh, nice.
Wait, no. What's the
Annabelle Comes Home?
Annabelle Comes Home.
Okay,
I was on that one. I was on a couple seasons of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
I have plenty of stories about that. And then I finally hit this moment where I was like, I've been out here to write for such a long time. I know I'm a good writer. I know I can, if I try hard enough, I can get something to catch. So I am thinking about Hysteria. And then in one really, really bad week, I blew a tire out of my car on the far lane of the freeway. I spun across 4 lanes of traffic.
Wow.
Crashed into the median, totaled my car completely. No scratch on my body. Totally fine, but my life for sure flashed before my eyes.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, my dog died suddenly, just like out of nowhere.
Fuck.
And I'm just getting hit after like, could it get any lower than this? And I knew I was in that kind of place of like, I just lost my car. I lost my dog. If I can't drive, I can't go to work, and I can't afford to pay for my apartment. So I need to find a way out of this. So I found myself driving up to Big Bear, California. I rented an Airbnb for 7 days, and from 9 to 6 every single day, writing, just 9 to 6 nonstop writing. And by the time I was done with that, I came back home with the final script of Hysteria. Like it
the
basically
full season or the pilot?
Pilot.
Yeah.
And when
basically
was this?
didn't change. This was in 2019, spring of 2019.
Okay.
And it started rolling fast.
Was
like
you
quickly.
you would have been 29? Was like
20?
Did approaching 30
I
have
was
any factor
20.
in there?
I was 28
Oh, okay.
technically
Yeah.
because
So, but you didn't have an agent at that time.
I had no agent.
No.
I had no manager. I had sent things around before. No one was interested. So what I did was I handed this to my friend, Kat Riley, who is now my agent, another Michigan person.
Yep.
Kat loved it. She sent it to Scott Stoops, who is now my manager. He works for Good Fear, which is a management and production company. His bosses got really on board with it. They sent it around to people, and then suddenly Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly were attached to direct it. And
was this after they did Game Night?
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite recent
I love
comedies.
that
I
Yeah.
fucking love Game Night.
It's incredible. It was between Game Night and Dungeons and Dragons for them.
Cool.
Oh,
Great.
cool.
Another great movie.
They came out with us for a pitch. It was, I think we did 4 or 5 different networks we pitched to. It's incredibly exhausting. I don't know if any of you guys have done that form of
We've
pitch
been
before.
pitching, yeah.
I've just started. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
fun.
a lot.
yeah. Just rejection after.
Yeah.
Every time you're like, that was great. And they're like, no.
Right. At least, are you doing it in person or over Zoom?
Both right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
In person's great.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
Usually it's like
riff
the
off
Zoom
of
is the first
people,
one, and then
but-
the second meeting I find is in person.
Got it.
That's like, at least for me.
I've only had one in person. The rest were all Zoom, and it sucks when it's Zoom.
Yeah.
So we finally found a buyer.
Did everybody say no except for
No, everyone said
person?
everyone said yes.
Everyone said yes.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone said yes.
Okay, yeah,
Wow.
standard. This is how it usually goes.
That doesn't happen.
No, I know. I keep waiting for someone to say no. I'm waiting for someone to say no. We went with one streamer who we didn't go forward with. We went somewhere, and then COVID hit. Essentially, is what happened. We got kind of shuffled at the bottom of the deck, and very gracefully they were happy to let Peacock buy it off of them.
Nice.
And Peacock was a huge fan of what we had pitched them before.
Amazing.
So then everything happened really quickly after that, where Peacock bought it back on my birthday when I was turning 32, 2022, I think it was. My brother was in town, surprise visit. We're going to Disneyland, and I get a phone call that says, hey, the head of NBCU needs you to pitch season 1 of Hysteria to her tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It's going to basically be the make or break.
Wow.
It's going to be the straight to series or
Whether
not
you
moving forward.
Oh my god.
Did you leave Disneyland or continue on the ride?
That's a good question.
I'm standing here in Frontierland with a big decision to make.
about to embark on this frontier.
Right. And I'm like, well, I feel bad, but I do have to tell all my friends and family, like, guys, we got to go back home. And I went back home and then rehearsed the pitch basically until like 4 a.m, just running it. And then we pitched the next day. And I think it was 2 days later, we were given a straight to series order.
Oh my God. I just want to cry.
I know.
It's such a good story.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, especially someone who like I've known for so long. Like when it said created by Matthew Scott Kane in the credits, like I almost cried because I'm just so proud of you.
Yeah.
Like I love it so much.
When I saw it, I was like, you could hold a little longer.
That was your note about it.
Yeah.
Maybe hold on.
But do you think also it sounds like your entire life kind of like built you for this moment. Do you even think like work, because you're a first-time showrunner on this show.
Yeah.
Do you think all of the work that you did, working on all these other television shows at a lower level position and just watching allowed you to be able to write to get it made, basically, because you knew what was necessary?
Yeah, 100%. I think there are 1,000 different ways that you can get where I am or where any of us are. But the path that I took was the most valuable experience was working on a show called Stitchers. That was on first it was on ABC Family, and then they changed their name to Freeform. So that really dates when the show came out. But I came on board and had basically the dream progression of how you move up to be a writer on a show, which was that my first season I was an office PA. Second season I was the showrunner's assistant. And by the third season, I was writing scripts.
Amazing.
Oh, okay.
you have written by credits on that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Cool.
And in all 3 of those seasons, our boss, my showrunner, Jeff Schechter, was incredibly gracious in terms of, what do you want to learn? What do you want to be a part of? You can sit in on production meetings if you want to. You can sit in on concept meetings, on the edits and all that stuff. And because I didn't know how to do any of this stuff, I don't even think I was thinking about this will help me in the future. I was just interested.
And wanted to learn.
Yeah, I want to see how you cut an episode and make a busted scene a great scene. I want to know how that stuff works. So for 30 episodes, I'm watching 10 different cuts and every little change that gets made to them. I'm watching how things are communicated in tone meetings. I'm watching all of this stuff and just internalizing. This seems like what the job is. So that once we got to Georgia and I had to start doing the job and doing all of these things, I wasn't rattled at all because I've done 30 of each of these things. I've got it all behind my belt and just walk in there and know what to do.
Do you still speak to Jeff at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still keep in
It
touch.
sounds like that was a very valuable
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he gave me my first script, which kept me kept a roof over my head for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you still get residuals from that, or?
I think my last one was like 80 cents.
Okay. Yep. That's how it goes now.
Nothing that's really helping out too much.
So talk to us a little bit about your cast and how they all came on the show.
Yeah. So
especially because like how we said earlier, how you tried to have sympathy for every character, like including the concerned parent. I feel like that's a much easier job when you have Julie Bowen in the role.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the main kids, so we have MJ Anthony, Kiara Aurelia, and Kazai Curtis, as well as Nikki Han. They were all cast before everyone else. We wanted to make sure that their stories were going to be set before anyone else came in. And then we had our kind of wish lists for all the adult characters. And number one for Linda, which is MJ's mother, from day one was always Julie Bowen. Amazing. But you always put number one up there to be like, look for this type.
Yeah. Someone like this.
We'll never get it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope. And we were kind of running out of ideas at some point. We had to start making offers to people. So I told Rich, our casting director, I was like, can we just go out to her? And he had a good connection with her. And I wrote a letter to her about how, this is a very sensitive character, but you're someone that I think I've seen so much empathy in your work, and I feel like you're the perfect person for this. And told her some of the places that she's going to be going in the season, which is it's not Claire Dunphy. And that's not why we want her. We don't want Claire Dunphy. We want something completely different. And she was so excited. We got on a Zoom call where she almost immediately signed on to the show. It took very little.
Oh,
it
that's
was like
great.
She squeezed me in like right between when she had to take her kids to school and just basically jumped on to say like, love your script. Can't wait. Like, I'm excited.
When that Zoom ended, what did you do? Like, I don't think I'd be able to recover for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I think every conversation that I had throughout the day was, so I talked to Julie Bowen.
Right.
And then like, how did it go? It was really good. Really well.
Wow.
It was a really great conversation. And then, I mean, like 2 or 3 days later, it's on Hollywood Reporter and Variety. It's all over the place.
Wow.
Julie Bowen to star in whatever they were calling it, thriller, horror, hysteria. And after that, it almost felt like she brought us a sense of gravity and a sense of legitimacy.
For sure.
Yeah. That now we have a 2-time Emmy Award-winning actor who is enthusiastic to be on this show. And suddenly now we've got Anna Camp, who is a powerhouse in this show. And we've got Bruce Campbell, who is every bit as iconic as he used to be.
Totally.
I'm just like imagining being in your position because I know you and I know how much of a fan of these things you are. And to be working with Barbara and Bruce just must feel like a dream. Yeah. And like, are you also a big Sandler fan? Like classic Sandler? Yeah.
That was the first thing that I told Julie was like, I've probably worn out my copy of Happy Gilmore on VHS. And her response to that was, if I knew people like you were going to keep saying this to me, 20 years later, I would have argued for better hair.
I get it. I get it. It's very 90s
It worked for all of us. The cast is incredible. And beyond even just the headline people, it's still loaded with people like, Barbara, Jeffrey Combs. We've got Millie Shapiro.
Yes, I
didn't even realize that until this morning when I was looking over the cast list. I was like, wait, Millie's in this?
She's hilarious
so talented.
too. Yeah. She is hilarious.
From Hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We also have people like
Garrett
Dillahunt, who is just incredible. As well as younger, like more newcomer actors like Jessica Tresca. She's amazing. As what she plays Judith. She's the love interest in the pilot. And just so many others. It was
Anna
such
Laurie.
And
Honorary.
Yeah.
Who
Yes.
is,
Another Scream Dream
who is a
exclusive.
friend of ours and is also going to be in the new Final Destination film.
That's
I
right.
know.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to see her. Well, this will have aired already, but we were talking the other day because we're both going to Fantastic Fest.
Cool.
So we're going to hang out there.
Yeah, I met her at the Hysteria premiere, and we immediately just
She's
clicked.
great.
Like,
I love her.
I love her.
She's
Yeah.
so cool. And she plays poker. So
Yeah.
gotta play some
Oh, we got to get her
When-
back on with Jennifer Tilly then.
Oh,
Yes, our
yeah.
Jennifer Tilly Day. We still have to plan that out.
When she was on set, I'm watching the monitors, and she comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I just got cast in like a huge horror franchise. Do you want to guess?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I must have gone through 30 franchises to the point where I was like, "What is this? Is this a prank?"
You're like Hayden
What
in
are
Scream
you doing?
4. You're just like naming
Yeah.
all the like which horror remake.
And I'm feeling really proud of myself. And she's just like, no. And then it turned out it was Final Destination.
Which is gonna
and
be
I was
huge.
so mad when I found that out because I was like, I swear I said that.
Yeah.
She's very talented and just a great human being. I think like your entire cast is just all these people that we love and adore that are just great.
And Nikki Han, I hadn't really known from too much, but then I saw her in the pilot episode, and I looked her up, and I looked at some other stuff she had done. She's really a good actress.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Chelsea and I just spoke to her at Halloween Horror Nights when we did the red carpet thing. She was there along with MJ and Kazai. And they were all so great to talk to, very enthusiastic about the show. The people with them with the little signs saw that how excited we were about Hysteria. And so they came up and they were like, hey, can you also talk to MJ and Kazai? And we're like, yeah, dude, bring them on. So.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to jinx it. We're not going to, but I think, a year from now, those are going to be the household names we're talking about on these shows.
Kazai's so funny in the pilot.
Yeah. There's kind of not a character in the show that doesn't steal at least a scene or two. Everyone gets their moments. I mean, there are these, not to spoil too much, but there are these like 3 or 4 people who are kind of recruited to be in the group, in the quote unquote cult later on in episodes. And we're so jam-packed. I mean, we have 20 characters in every episode, so you can't really give everyone everything. But then in the very final episode, they get like this awesome, hilarious, pivotal scene that like everyone has a chance to shine.
Oh, yeah.
So when it comes out, it's all going to be available right away at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's all 8 episodes at once?
All 8 episodes at once on Peacock. But it will premiere... it'll be a simulcast on Sci-Fi Network and USA Network.
Okay.
And for the weeks following the premiere, they will continue to air episodes on USA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fridays at 10:30 after wrestling, and so I know it's gonna
after
be
SmackDown?
After SmackDown.
SmackDown's the lead into Hysteria?
No. It's SmackDown.
Just like made James's whole life for a moment there.
It's appointment viewing for you.
Yeah, I was about to block off that time every week.
It's SmackDown, and then there's a Jordan Peele prank show.
Oh, that's is it? I forget the Fear one. Yeah.
And then
it's like scary pranks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and now talk to us about your directors that you got.
Yeah.
And how did they come on board?
Yeah. So we originally were going to have John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein direct, but they got caught up in a lot of, I think it was reshooting or something like that for D&D, so they weren't able to make the dates. So we interviewed a ton of people to come in and kind of step into their shoes, and what we landed on was a guy named Jordan Boat Roberts, who directed Kong Skull Island, Kings of Summer. He's had a lot of cool stuff in development for a while. He's done a lot of cool TV stuff like You're the Worst, and is also a Michigander. He's someone who grew up maybe 30 minutes from where I did. Jordan is a complete madman. He is. I've gotten fewer texts from other directors about major plot points than I have from Jordan about fingernails.
Wow.
He's
meticulous.
He's incredibly meticulous. But
was he for your episode, Barbara?
No, but I heard about him, and what he did on, and we watched that first episode. It's so detail oriented, right? Everything.
Great. Yeah. He really did a great job of setting the tone and making sure that, it's incredibly difficult when you watch shows and you go in the metalhead's basement and you look at all the posters on his wall, how often are those posters real versus it's like, you know, June and the Slayers or something like that, like something you've never heard of, and you're like, what is this? So he took it upon himself to make sure that every poster in every room was as authentic as possible, and I think did wonders there. Like the show looks
Well, he had
incredible.
to set the look. I mean, that's an important job for the first episode.
Director.
Yeah, he did an incredible job. I think I've said on a number of occasions that it feels like he pulled the pilot straight out of my head. Like
Wow.
what was on the page was a good communicator, but it really felt like this is exactly what I wanted this to be. So I was really happy with that. And then we had awesome people all the way through. We had, we had Wendy Sandsler, who is also a Michigander. She was an editor on Roger and Me.
Oh,
That
great.
means anything to you?
Yeah, Michael Moore.
And we had Eduardo Sanchez, who did the Blair Witch Project.
Right.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah. And all these people really came together to find, a version of the show that was about 75% cohesive with everything else, but gave it that 25%. Here's why this episode is a little bit more special, brought their own flavor to it. So we got really lucky with everyone. Yeah.
Awesome. It's just such an incredible journey. What is, if you could play any of the characters in it, who is the one that is most like you growing up? And then who is the character that you would play if you were an actor?
So weirdly enough, something that I've bonded with Kiara about, who plays Geordie, is how I've always seen myself mostly like her.
Okay.
This kind of quiet when she needs to be, but ready to come in and snap someone and put them into place when she needs to. But also just, definitely has her guards up, definitely very unsure of the world around her. But I think the more realistic answer is I'm just Dylan. I'm just like the dorky kid that's walking around and trying to get people to go to my show. And there's so much in the pilot that is pulled straight from my actual experiences. There's the scene of Dylan walking around handing out flyers to kids and no one's taking them. My band in high school, shout out No Biggie.
No Biggie.
We would play shows just about every other Friday or so. And
I didn't know you had a band.
Oh yeah.
What instrument
I'll
did
hit
you
you
play?
up with MySpace.
What instrument did you play?
I play bass.
Okay.
And my brother played lead guitar and vocals. And then we had our friend Trevor, rhythm. And my friend AJ was the drummer, who was also in the pilot. He runs across the screen after something happens and says, "What the hell was that?"
Nice. Some respect for the drummer.
Respect for the rhythm section. But I, as an attempt to get more people to come to our shows, I had one of those wheelie backpacks.
Nice.
I only had it because I got to the store too late and it was all they had.
Oh no.
So instead of just a nice
did
normal,
you pair it with some Heelys too?
no
He's
heelys,
just
wheeling all
like-
around. No. I would never actually drag it on the ground, but when we had a show coming up, I would pull it up.
Yeah.
And I would put flyers on both sides of it.
Because it's
like
like
a
luggage.
walking billboard.
Walking billboard.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like this.
Yeah.
Resourceful.
It didn't really work.
Well, now people are coming to your show. Is the irony
Yes.
of the whole thing.
Yeah, jokes on them.
What do you hope that they get out of it, and what do you, if we could hand you the ultimate results of this show, what would be the dream?
The dream is that they watch it, love it, and want more of it.
Right.
But in terms of what I want them to feel when they watch it, I definitely want a lot of the show's about generational fear. It's about parents not really understanding what their kids are going through and their kids not really understanding how their actions affect their parents. I would love for mothers and fathers and sons and daughters and whoever to watch the show with each other and try to get a better understanding of where the other person's coming from, because ultimately that's where everything builds to, is some parents and children stay together and are stronger for the journey that this puts them on, and some of them completely split apart.
I think you're right about that, because it feels like there's something for everybody in this show. It's not a kid's show. It's not just an adult show. Everyone can see themselves in one or two characters in the show.
I hope so. Yeah.
What are you afraid of? Since it's a show about fear.
Right.
And our show is about
we
fear.
always ask that
right.
question.
We always ask it. We never forget to ask it.
We never forget.
Not ever.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with the call to the void?
The call
This
to the
idea.
void.
I've heard of it, the phrase.
Okay, so the call to the void is, I want to be clear, it is not related to suicide.
Okay.
What it is say you are driving down a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
You're just driving down a bridge, you had a great day, you love your life, and then you look off the side of that bridge, and suddenly you have this compulsion of like, I'm going to drive my car off this bridge and it would
I'm
roll
gonna
me
jump.
over.
Yeah.
Intrusive thoughts?
Yeah, intrusive thoughts that kind of push you in that with like.
I have that all the time when I'm at a, like on a high building and there's a balcony. I totally want to jump every time.
It's like, what if I just
exactly
jumped?
me?
Yeah.
I do. I want to do that. And when I'm sitting near the window in an airplane, I want to break the window open and jump out of the plane.
Is that why you don't sit in window seats?
Yeah. What?
You don't like window seats, right?
I don't like window seats, but I also am claustrophobic. So when I'm in the aisle seat, I don't feel good either. So I don't know where to be.
Aisle seat has more room though, right?
I don't know, but I just feel like I can look outside at a window, and I don't like when people pull the window shades down, because that makes me more claustrophobic.
But they tell you to. They're like, please
I don't
close the
care
window
what
shades.
they tell me to do.
Keep the plane cool.
I leave it a little bit up. So if I'm sitting on the aisle, I can't control my claustrophobia. But even though I'm afraid of heights, when I'm sitting at the window, I can put the window up a little bit. But anyway, go on about your what you were saying.
It's a lot of what you're talking about. It's like the feeling of being on a roller coaster and like I could slip out from this thing.
I have the same thing.
I know. I know. I think about it all the time, and it's not like you're right. It's not like an unaliving tendency. It's like, would I fly? Like, what would that feel like to fall like that?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I used to have flying dreams when I was little, constantly, every single night. I think I was probably, what do they call that? Astral projecting. But I would fly every night in my dreams and go somewhere. Like, I'm telling you, every dream I was flying.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's actually super cool. It's like once every decade, I get a flying dream.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't get it so much anymore, but I bet I'm going to get it now that we're talking about it, like tonight. But what are you calling this? Something the void?
The call to the void.
So it scares you, or it
the call to the void?
So that's an actual thing.
It's an actual thing.
term.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're afraid you're going to jump? Like,
you afraid you would just do it?
I'm afraid I would just do it because
something would take control and finally do it.
Yeah, it's not like I'm sitting in this chair right now thinking, ooh, I want to get on a tall building. It's not like that. But if I find myself on a tall building,
and there's like a physical sensation too when you're there.
It's like you have to stop yourself. You're feeling like you have to stop yourself. I'm going to do it.
My knees lock.
Yeah. Do we know why this happens? Like, is there like a thing behind it? A science?
Yeah.
Internet?
I'm going to have to look this up now.
I kind of historically also just don't have the strongest will to live.
Oh my God.
Where like this happened to me multiple times when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I swear it's a funny story.
I hope so.
Or like, where's this going?
I would go in the kitchen when my mom was asleep. My mom worked nights, so she'd sleep during the day, and my dad would be out, and my brother would be doing whatever my brother's doing. And I would go into the kitchen and make a peanut butter sandwich with about that much peanut butter on it.
It's like a ton.
Like probably 8 servings of it.
Not good for you.
Not good for you when you're 7
Hard
or 8.
to eat also.
Very difficult. Sticky. So I would start housing this peanut butter sandwich and just like no milk, no nothing. I'm just like going for it. Very quickly, I would get like
you developed an allergy. Probably.
No, not an allergy. It would just stick in my throat and be unmovable.
Some blockage,
And I would just be like,
you're gonna choke.
Like I am choking on this. And I would not think to drink anything because I was stupid. And instead, what I would do was very quickly, after like 5 or 6 gasps, resigned to like, it's over.
I'm gonna die.
Death
You
by
had
peanut butter.
you had a good run, man.
You were so little.
You had
I
a
know.
good run.
And
this
what
peanut butter is taking me
Yeah,
out.
death by peanut butter. And I would walk into the living room and I would lay on the couch and I would put my hands like
Oh my God, your poor mother. She's
so that when my family
drink
found me,
milk, damn
would
it.
look-
Be like that.
it would look nice.
Oh,
They wouldn't have
okay.
to see me like barfing peanut
Then
butter on the ground.
when you were laying down, was it like
It cleared right out.
it was dripping? So how often did you do this?
It happened twice, at least.
Okay, I have a story for you because maybe this is why we have the call to the void.
Okay.
Because when I was younger, I was probably like 8 or so, and I was living in Levittown, Long Island. We were at the North Village Green, and there's a pool there, and we went swimming, and I didn't know how to swim. Nobody, when you were little in that day and age, nobody taught you how to swim, whatever, figure it out or not. And I remember being in the pool, and I was swimming in the kiddie area, but it went down into the deeper area. So somehow I was in the little kiddie area going back and forth, and I went into the deeper area, and I found myself in the deep area, like prone, like straight up and down, but I was underneath the water, and I didn't know what to do. And I thought, I'm going to die. This is it. I'm going to die because I'm underwater, and I don't know how to, maybe I was younger than 8. I could have been like 3 or 4. And I didn't know how to get out. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to die now. So what's going to happen next? And then all of a sudden, somebody pulled me out of the water. So maybe
like,
when you have an experience like that where you think you're going to die, then you're called to that void again because it was such it's such a profound memory.
Yeah.
It's like a lifelong final destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I escaped death by peanut butter.
but he's coming.
I
after me.
escaped death
You
by
did.
peanut butter.
Coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
But
Yeah.
it's inevitably
Yeah.
coming. I have dreams in where I should die, but because it's a dream, I can't die because I don't know what happens next.
Okay.
So like I've had multiple dreams where I've driven my car off the side of
Oh,
or like an
wow.
accident's happened and I've turned and I've just ended up off the side of like an overpass and it should crash but in the crash moment, I'm just not dead. Because I don't know my brain doesn't know what happens next.
Right.
So it can't write the narrative that I die. You just experience
What
it.
happens after that then?
Usually I just so in the one, I have this recurring dream where I drive off an overpass accidentally, or like an accident happens, I lose control and I'm over the overpass. And every time I think I'm going to die in the dream, and somehow my car lands on all 4 wheels. and it's like boom, and I kind of pass out within the dream and then wake up immediately within the dream. And nobody has noticed or cares really. I'm just in the car alive still.
Oh, wow.
This happens I've had this dream a couple times.
But I think knowing you, that's because you have survived some trauma in your life and you are the originator of your own existence. And there's something about you that fights back against what could have happened to you. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think inevitably I have this, I always say I don't think people see me. So if something happened, I don't think they'd, that's a fear of mine that they wouldn't notice or care. It would take a long time or they wouldn't care.
I see you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I think it's it's this idea that within the dreams when it happens, it's no one noticed about this car driving off the overpass because why would they? I guess in the way that my trauma brain processes it. Why would they notice that you died by peanut butter? They would just...
That wasn't a dream.
He's really almost died.
I really almost...
Was there no jelly or anything?
No jelly.
Why? What compelled you to put this much peanut butter?
Well, I was a latchkey kid. So it was the Wild West.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too.
It was...
Oh, you
Yeah.
just were I was a latchkey kid too. I guess, yeah. Yeah, just...
I
Why not?
liked it. I liked the peanut butter, and the more...
Therefore...
I think it was also a situation where I liked crunchy, we got creamy, and I was like, well, I gotta supplement the stuff that I'm missing.
I liked
Yeah.
crunchy
more.
too, dude.
Yeah.
And I always
think
got
I like
shit
crunchy.
for it.
I like
Yeah.
crunchy food in general.
Me too.
Chips, things like
Yeah,
that.
I don't care that they're not really Mexican. Crunchy tacos all the way, man.
Really?
I
I like
need that
crunchy
crunch.
tacos.
No.
I like crunchy things, not crunchy tacos.
Oh no.
I don't like soft things. I like tacos. I like chips with dip.
You know what the best candy is?
Yeah.
What's the best candy?
M&Ms. with the peanuts in it.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. What's your favorite candy?
It's best candy.
It's tough. I don't eat dairy.
Okay.
Oh.
No, don't worry.
Candy.
Like
This one's
sour
not dairy.
candies.
This one's not dairy.
This one's not dairy.
It's objectively the best candy.
Is it Twizzlers?
No.
No, because
Oh,
he
what's
wants
your
crunchy.
favorite?
So
I need some crunch.
it's something like Pop Rocks.
Is it
or
the
something.
Nerds gummy clusters?
That's exactly what the fuck it is, dude.
Oh, okay.
Have you
Yes.
had these Nerds clusters?
They are
Yeah.
the best.
No,
I
they
are
knew.
the best candy.
I knew,
My
'cause
kids
that's exactly
love
where my
those
brain went.
too.
They're
It
incredible.
is the most. It is the superior candy, and it's the on. I am a vegan, and I cheat on the Nerds clusters. I hate
That's what
this
gets you to
about
cheat.
myself.
Yeah.
I hate this about
No,
myself.
everyone understands.
And then-
Everyone
I
understands.
It is the superior candy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is so good. They are.
It's a newcomer on the field. I know.
I
It's
said
not like a
newcomer.
traditional
I
candy.
haven't
Coming
tried
through.
it.
Oh
They
my
are
God.
gummy, surrounded by nerds. So it's like crunchy, sour, sweet.
Like we had
chewy.
Nerds rope
Yeah.
at a certain time,
Yeah,
and then
it
they,
just like goes into little.
they perfected it. They
It is-
refined
it
it.
is
And they were
the
like, wait,
best.
what if instead of a rope, it's like little balls of gummy so that you
Okay.
get more surface area covered by the crunchy Nerds? And it's, oh my God, dude.
Okay.
It's incredible.
Okay.
It is. If Nerds Gummy Clusters would like to sponsor us,
Please. Please.
we will not-
We'll give you a
we
good
will-
rate.
We will have
Yeah.
a bowl in the center.
Oh my God. We recently bought some and I ate so many that the next day my teeth hurt.
I think
Yeah.
our
I fucked up my
sound
teeth.
people would hate us
can't be
though,
good
because it
for
would
you.
just sound
No,
like
it's just
No.
sugar. It's just like, here's two forms of sugar.
Halloween is coming. So-
You're right. Oh, my house. If kids
At
come to
your-
my house,
God
they're
damn it,
just.
I'm gonna
Is that what they're
We're
gonna
gonna
get?
party.
Yes.
That's what you're gonna
We're
get for
gonna-
everybody.
At the Halloween party, there will be no
Yeah.
candy except for bowls of Nerds clusters.
I
Okay,
went to
okay.
a dinner party recently at a friend's house, and he asked what kind of snacks I liked, and I asked for Nerds Gummy Clusters.
You did?
So
Really?
there was like a cheese board and like
Yep.
charcuterie, and then like
We went to our friend.
clusters.
Oh no, you weren't at Chrissy's daughter's birthday
No, I was
party.
out of town.
5-year-old's birthday party. Had a pinata. They cracked that baby open.
All
There were.
Nerds.
I saw the Nerds clusters. I stole them.
You were like, "Fucking children."
I was like, hey kid, what's that? Weed smoker put it in my back pocket, dude.
Yeah.
No regrets. Wow.
So, Catherine, we have to ask the next question again.
Okay, hopefully I get it right this time, since I've covered the aforementioned question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are a listener of our show.
You know what's coming.
So we ask
do.
everyone on the show, amidst all the terrifying things in the world, what is your nightlight? And I know you know what we mean by that, but for everybody else who may just be tuning in one time, what we mean by that is amidst all the dark and terrible things in the world, amidst the satanic panic,
Call to the void.
all
to
of
the
it,
void.
what is the thing that keeps you going, the light at the end of the tunnel that lets you know that everything will be okay? And don't you dare say your children or your pets, because we've decided that's a cop out.
You can
We
say
doesn't have any children yet.
yeah.
What if I said that it was the call to the void also?
Really?
Ooh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I like that answer.
that's
That's kind of
sensible.
cool.
No,
You can say your pets, but then you have to have an answer B.
it's not my pet.
Oh.
I think it's two answers. One is my partner, who has gotten me through so much over the last 5 years. I mean, I've been with her through this entire process of Hysteria,
She rules.
and she has had to deal with a lot of twists and turns, and she's done it so gracefully. And I would not be as composed as I am now without her helping me.
I love her so much.
I think
Good pick.
Thank you.
Good pick. What is her name? Can we share?
Katie.
Katie.
Yeah. I think the 1B answer, and this will be the most satanic I get today, and I hope it doesn't sound narcissistic, but is the thinking about the younger version of myself. Thinking about who I was 25 years ago and how psyched that guy would be to know what I'm up to, where I am, who I'm working with, all of these things. If he knew all of that, that would feel great. So just keeping him in mind, keeping those dreams alive.
That's a nice
Okay.
answer.
Dude,
We
it's-
haven't
yeah.
heard an answer like that from anyone.
No, I
That's
think
a
that's
cool-
so perfect.
Yeah.
My therapist says that all the time. I know. I know it sounds Heather. I love you. She says that all the time. Where, it's like, what would when you're it's so easy for us in our day-to-day lives to be like, oh my God, this sucks. I'm not doing. No one sees me. Whatever it is, I'm sitting here in this PA job and whatever. But what would 8-year-old you in the Kiss T-shirt?
Yeah.
Think about that.
I think about
As
that
he's
all the
laying there
time.
with the peanut butter sliding down his
So he was
Like-
like, I can't give in because I have to go make Hysteria.
It's like 12-year-old James. You do a show with Barbara Crampton. What?
But do you think that you guys everybody talks about visualizing what you want in your life. And some people are more actively doing that than others. But do you think when you were younger, you were visualizing these things or your success that you're now experiencing?
Yeah. I think I was doing it before I knew I was doing it. Something I got made fun of a lot by my family in a friendly way was that my pastime from like 5 to 10 maybe was that I would take my t-shirt and I'd pull it out and I'd load it up with a whole bunch of action figures. Nice. And I would go walk over to the stairwell. And I would empty them all out on the stairwell and just lay on the stairs and set up different, like, here's A plot, here's B plot, here's C plot.
Wow.
And I would be playing, and it was all like Metal Gear Solid versus Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It was like that kind of stuff. And would then, end of the day, clean them up, but remember where they were and pick the story up again.
Yeah,
That's
you
so
were world
great.
building.
So I was absolutely, like, I did not know what I was doing. I did not know it had to do with I want to go make movies, but I do know that that was absolutely something
you
I
were
was
creating
building.
stories
Yeah.
from a very young age. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, we've loved having you on the show.
Oh my God, this is
Also-
one of the most inspiring ones I think we've ever done.
It's one of my favorites. Just
Well, of
personally,
course.
'cause-
Yeah.
But
Yes,
also,
I met you at your house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you two met. Was
And
that?
you were actually, it was
during
the
the strike? Yeah.
It was during the strike.
During the strike.
And you said to me, I said, well, who are you? What do you do? And you said, well, I have a TV show, but we're on hold right now. And I don't know if it's going to come back.
Yep.
Because a lot of shows don't come back. So we're on strike. I don't know what's going to happen. We've made a few episodes and maybe it'll continue and maybe it won't. And I was like, that sounds horrible to me.
Yeah.
Like that you're living in this, not this vague area that you don't know
Yep.
what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yep.
Hysteria
It was
survived
tough.
COVID and then the
Yes.
strikes.
Right.
And
Yep.
so that shows you how good it is. And
Because
also
some
the fact that everyone said yes, apparently.
Yeah, I know,
Shows how
right?
strong
But some
the script-
shows didn't
Just
come
so
back.
good.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was a lot of shows that started filming and they were a few episodes in like you were and they just
Can
put 'em on
I
the
can I
show.
say that I have a cameo in
Yeah.
it?
Yes,
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
say that?
This is
Yes.
Because I literally went down and shot it. I think the day the strike started, or like right after, because you
It was
weren't
the
on
day
set.
that I was flying home.
Yes, because
Yeah.
you weren't on set because of the strike. But
Yep.
I flew down to Georgia. They flew me down first class for this. I'm in there for like 5 seconds, dude. But it's great. I'm so grateful that you reached out to me and included me
Yep.
as concerned parent being interviewed
Ooh,
on the
yeah.
news.
I
Intern
love
parent.
it.
Yes. and-
I'm so excited. I feel like I'm just gonna watch every week as the biggest hype woman of the show. I may be the #1 fan of your show by the time
I
this
can't
is
wait.
over.
Yeah.
We can all binge watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you're done, just play it again.
Just play
in
it
the
again.
background.
Just because
Just keep
yes.
going. It helps.
Yeah.
We don't have
It
a
does
second
help,
season yet,
right?
but we're really hopeful that we get one.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we can
Amazing.
expand the universe
We can
of
expand the
concerned
character
parents.
of
Exactly. Yeah.
He might get an
extra concerned.
He
fan.
might get a
Extra
name
concerned
next
parent.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Concerned
go.
James
Concerned.
is.
And I want to come back.
I want you to come back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I love that you left a comment on our Jamie Kennedy episode. Because speaking of Satanism, when Jamie brought up Satanism and how it's more prolific and how people, and I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure most of those people are just doing it for the aesthetic and they're not actually like
Satanist.
anti-Christians or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think you left a comment being like, thanks for standing up for Satanists.
That's like the next crossover episode. We have to bring Jamie back and you and just sit and observe
Yeah.
the conversation there.
Have you ever met him?
I think Jamie would love it.
No.
I have a feeling
I
it
love-
would
we
look
love
a lot
Jamie.
like training on a punching bag. I don't think I would have much to come back with. I think I would just kind of
yeah, just-
I think when you have
Go off,
when you have,
Jamie.
there-
I don't
when you
care.
have like someone like Jamie Kennedy on the show, like it is the Jamie show, and you are on for the ride.
He takes up a lot of energy and
Yeah,
space.
but
Yeah,
even
some
in
people
a,
do.
yeah, in a great way, in a great way, you know.
Yeah.
We support everyone and their journeys and relationships to Satanism
Yep.
on this show.
Something that I always set out for is I do not want to offend any religion in this show. Least of all, and I mean this, I do not want to offend Satanists by how we are representing them.
Yeah.
Because we're representing a bunch of kids who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
These are not real Satanists. These are a bunch of posers that are trying to get famous and popular.
Yeah, and the parents are naturally concerned. Like, my parents were concerned about things I was doing. And then I'm very concerned about the things my kids are doing as well, And
again, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but most real Satanists don't believe that Satan exists and worship him.
There are monotheistic Satanists out there for sure, but I think atheistic Satanism is definitely more of what like the Satanic Temple is up to and all that stuff.
I met a Satanist recently. He had a card. Like it was like a members club.
Yeah.
I was really fascinated by this. I didn't have time to talk to him more.
Because there's the temple and then there's the Church of Satan, which is more edgelordy, right?
Yeah, that's more of the Levian kind of stuff.
Oh, that's Levian. Okay. Yeah. I get them mixed up because their names are too fucking similar. Yeah. There's temple and church, but Chelsea will always correct me. And I'm like,
so wait. For those listening, so what is the difference? The temple is the members club?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't. I don't
want to spread this information.
Okay. Well, if you do know, I'm curious. Let us know in the comments. I'd like to understand.
Because one of them is like, I think most of what they do is challenge like laws that promote Christianity. Like when there are 10 commandments on a courthouse thing, they'll be like, well, then we want to put our 10 commandments to Satanism on there just as a way to challenge like state-sponsored religion.
Yeah, like a church, a separation of church and state.
Yeah, separation of church and state. So if we're going to be putting baby Jesus here, we're going to be putting baby Baphomet here.
Yeah, exactly. that kind of thing.
Well, I think your show is going to open up a lot of questions for everyone.
Yeah, a lot of conversations.
A lot of conversations.
Sure hope so.
And where can they watch it and when does it come out?
They can watch it on Peacock, October 18th. And then every Friday night at 10:30 on USA.
Amazing.
Hysteria. Happy Halloween.
Because this is my plan, and I've talked about this with multiple people. It does look like a dick. Are you
showing that to the camera?
Yeah.
It does look like a dick.
It's a little phallic water tower.
Yeah.